Hello and welcome back to Discover the Unknown, a podcast by Cove Clothing that aims to inspire our listeners by bringing you incredible people with epic stories. I am your host, Lydia Cook, and today I'm going to be chatting to Alice, who is the lovely lady behind the brand Origin Africa. She also has an incredible insight into the world of ethical and sustainable fashion, so I cannot wait to bring you some inspiring stories from her and her journey. Thanks so much for joining us, Alice. It is awesome to have you here. Obviously, I've worked with you a lot and I've followed you for over a year now, and I love absolutely everything that you do. So it's so great to have you on here to chat and kind of share what you do with our listeners. So I guess, first of all, do you want to just sort of explain what Origin Africa is and sort of a little bit about yourself and why you are where you are now?
Sure. Oh God, that's going to be a really long answer, isn't it? Okay, cool. So Origin is a not-for-profit fashion brand. So we create garments. They're all ethically made, planet-friendly, and people-focused. And the profits that we get from the sale of those garments here in the UK, we use to fund different social impact initiatives in Africa. So you want a little bit about me as well. It's going to be a really long answer. So what kind of led us on that journey? Oh God, I don't have any background in fashion at all. And neither does my partner. You tell that if you knew us personally, you'd be really surprised we set up a fashion brand. Our kind of background was more in the humanitarian side. So Tom was a doctor in emergency medicine and had spent many years working in Africa. I had worked in sort of marketing and fundraising for various big charitable organisations like World Vision, UNICEF, Macmillan. And I guess the reality is that both of us felt kind of disenchanted with traditional aid and the kind of colonial background of that and the way that it kind of works, particularly in Africa and the areas that we'd spent time living in. We felt like there was a better way to support some incredible entrepreneurial people who had the chance to change their own communities. And we were trying to look for a way to do that. And Origin was kind of our solution.
That's amazing. I think it's such an incredible story behind the brand and everything you do. And I know you say you don't know why you started a fashion brand or how you are, but I absolutely love all of the garments. I've been lucky enough to model them and I think they look fab. So you mentioned that you lived there for a bit. So do you want to tell me a little bit about where that was? And was that really the kind of start of the journey? Was it while you were there that you were like, gosh, this is where I want to go with life?
Yeah, definitely. So, as I said, Tom had lived in various parts of Africa for quite a bit before we met. He had spent a lot of time in West Africa in particular, in Togo, in Gambia. But when we met, he was actually working as a doctor in Mali. And I spent a lot of time with him there. And really, that was the beginning. Actually, him leaving that job and us leaving Mali was the kind of beginning of the catalyst for Origin. I think just because neither of us had spent such a long kind of intense period of time before in Africa, and we had a couple of kind of, if we're honest, bad experiences with kind of charity, as it were, in the traditional sense. And we found that quite frustrating during the time we were living there. But also on the positive side, we were really inspired by the culture and the people, particularly fabric in Mali. There's a very popular and kind of infamous fabric called bogolan, which is made in Mali, which is like a hand-painted, beautiful, hand-woven fabric. And that's kind of what started to lead me down the idea of setting up something that was inspired by those designs in the UK and using the profits for good, as it were, in Africa. So yeah, it was definitely a lot of the creative inspiration and a lot of the kind of building blocks for the way that Origin is today definitely came from the time that we spent living in Mali, for sure.
Wow. I mean, you must have had the most incredible time there. And for your brand to start there, but also, a lot of other parts of your life, with Tom and things like that, it must be such a special place to you. and for you to be able to give
Mm.
back must be amazing, because it is kind of like you're joint together with that place, which is
Mm.
incredible. But the designs that you're talking about as well, I love them. They are so fun.
Mm.
So you get, is it that you get communities to design them? What's the kind of story and the
Yeah,
process
so
behind getting those graphics made?
Yeah, so it's been a long road, basically. We've had a lot of changes along the way. But yes, the initial designs, so the our kind of what we call our original icons, were inspired by tribal masks, which was like the original designs and the original branding for Origin was created with those icons, and they formed our first designs of our first t-shirts, and they are eyes, nose, lips, and mouth, basically. And they have been amazingly popular and actually form the basis of a lot of our kind of key ongoing pieces. However, in the last kind of year and a half, we've also started working with local artists in the communities that we have the impact projects in. And it's been really cool because we've been able to partner with really inspiring artists. We ran a competition in the Gambia where we got some local artists to come up with some t-shirt designs, and then we ran on our Instagram an opportunity for people to choose which one they liked best. And we paid the artists a commission to design the final t-shirt. So that's our Faces of Life t-shirt. And similarly, a Senegalese artist that designed our Brave Woman t-shirts, which released last Christmas. And we've got some more coming later this year. So yeah, a big part of our kind of the background of the brand, but also the kind of creative input for the brand is from local African artists as well.
Wow, I mean, yeah, I remember when you put the designs up on your story, I genuinely was like flicking through them. Like I just can't decide. They're all so
Yeah,
beautiful.
really cool.
And I think that's so nice that you have, they're amazing, and having that connection between the actual communities that you're giving back to and having them be the soul of the item as well is so important. And I think quite often you see that bit skipped out.
Mm,
Um, I know you've mentioned before that it's quite hard sometimes to see, it's great that brands give back and, they help communities and stuff, but the way that you involve them in the actual process is like really inspiring. And I think it's something that a lot of companies should look up to. Um,
thank you.
so in terms of giving back to the community, because obviously it's non-profit and you do these amazing things, um, what was the first project you did, and sort of where have you gone from there?
God, that was a long time ago. The first project we did, which is kind of unofficial, it was like right at the beginning where we didn't even properly had a website. At this point, we were selling our stuff at market stalls in Bath and Bristol and making very, very little money. We often recall like a couple of markets where we're kind of standing out in the cold for hours and we made like £45 and we'd be like, yay! um, and I remember the first time that we'd kind of made enough to donate to a project, and we'd raised £300, and we used it to run a kind of a malnutrition project that was like a local chief in one of the communities that we'd worked with in Mali wanted to kind of work with the clinic there to assess all of the children for malnutrition and provide sort of supportive therapeutic foods for them. So we donated the money to that and they ran that campaign. But fast forward kind of 3 years and things have changed a lot since then. I think that we've really changed the way that we invest the money and how that kind of process works. So now it's much more based on kind of social impact entrepreneurs. So we work with community hubs in each region. So at the moment it's Mali, Gambia, Ethiopia, and we've just donated to one in Ghana as well. So we work with local community hubs. They kind of point us in the direction of entrepreneurs from really small, tiny, tiny projects to more established local businesses who are having a positive impact in the community. That can be anything from healthcare to sanitation to education to recycling projects, like anything that benefits people locally. but also has longevity. So also isn't like a charitable donation in the terms of like a sink fund. It's more a donation that helps as a catalyst to kickstart projects which are really inspiring. And we've just found that's a really good way to make sure that the money is having maximum impact, but also that it has an ongoing future, because this helps businesses create jobs and opportunities. It helps, obviously, the economy, but also it has a kind of some sort of social good as well. So it kind of ticks a lot of boxes, and that's really that's the focus of the projects that we donate to today.
Yeah. Gosh, I can't even imagine what it's like to see your impact actually happening as well. And I know I've seen on your Instagram, obviously you share pictures of like how you're actually helping, and you can see it in the field. And I mean, what does that feel like to see these communities that you work with kind of having these incredible developments and becoming, I don't know, just living this life that is enriched by what you're doing as well?
Yeah, I mean, it feels. I mean, obviously, it's great to see that the process is working. Like, I love the fact that we had this idea, this kind of concept of setting up a business for good, and it was very inspired by a lot of books that Tom and I had read about kind of social business and how to kind of channel capitalism in a positive way, I guess. So it feels great to see that system working. But I guess the feeling that we have mostly when we see the sort of success of the entrepreneurs is a little bit of like, that's how it should. They should have those opportunities. Like it should exist, that there's structures to support them, and it's great to see them doing really well. But absolutely all the energy for that has come from them. Like, that it's their ideas, it's their passion, it's their social impact. We're just really happy to be able to play a small role in that, of essentially funding it through the clothes that we sell here. And really the people we have to thank for that is our customers. So kind of we see ourselves more as a kind of conduit for that process. And we're really excited that the more that we grow, the greater that impact will be, both in terms of promoting kind of slow fashion and ethical fashion here in the UK, but also promoting this idea of a more cyclical, more fair supply chain that ultimately has a good and positive impact in the world rather than a negative one.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's super empowering, like you say, that it's like you don't take the credit for it. It's the people in those communities that are doing this, and it's amazing to see them doing it. And like you say, you're kind of supporting it rather than you didn't come up with the idea. It's you're just helping these people who have, which is so just like beautiful to see. And I will keep saying this, but I just think so many people should be inspired by what you're doing. But yeah, I mean, it's incredible. Have you gone out to any of the projects? I mean, obviously not in the last year; it's been quite tricky. But like before that, have you managed to get out?
Yeah, I mean, we do. We try to go as often as we can. Partly, for the business, and more recently for sourcing, because we have some new Made in Africa collections which are launching soon. But also because, we're incredibly lucky. We love spending time in Africa. It's one of our passions, and the places that we work are places that we really enjoy visiting. We have a lot of friends there. But we have also been very fortunate that in the last year and a half, when we haven't been able to visit, the bulk of our board is based in Africa. So 80% of the people who work on our board are based in Africa. We also have 2 community development hub leaders who are based in Bamako and Mali. So they've really been able to do everything. We don't need to be there. We don't. There's no requirement, and actually, in many places in the communities, we wouldn't show our faces anyway. It wouldn't be something that we would do to kind of turn up. So it works really well in the kind of setup that we have. So actually, we're lucky that in that area of the business, the pandemic hasn't affected us too much. Just because we can't be there, it doesn't mean that things can't continue to thrive and kind of go on as normal. So that's a really positive thing for us, for sure. But I absolutely miss it, and we'll be looking forward to going back when we can.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people with itchy feet at the moment, aren't there,
Mm.
trying to get out to places again.
Definitely.
But that's so nice that you managed to spend so much time there before, and you've got a real journey that you've had there that's built this brand. And even if you can't get out at the moment, you have that in your heart, which is so nice.
Yeah.
But what's been your favorite product? Because I know there's been quite a few now, haven't there, since you started? But is
Yeah.
there one that like is for you is the key thing that shows the brand?
Oh, that's a really hard question. A great question, really hard. I don't know. I feel like Tom would say like the original t-shirt. The original t-shirt had four like coloured icons across the chest. We don't sell it anymore. Occasionally, so once a year. So last year we released a limited edition number of them. And I think this year we might do the same. But that will always be like the original. So I guess in many ways that would be a favourite. I think for me, the Wink t-shirt is the one that everyone always remembers. And it's certainly the first one that sort of a couple of celebrities wore, and therefore like people kind of knew us for it. And that, I think, for me, like indicates the point as where we transitioned from this tiny little kind of hobbyist business which felt really small to an established brand. And I think that means that that will always be the product that I kind of feel most fondly for. But the new stuff that we have coming up, they're probably the garments that I've been the most excited about and have most of my heart in. So they'll probably take over when they launch, I would have thought.
Yeah, that's really exciting. And like you say, you've had celebrities and people um, promoting your business and kind of really sharing what you do to like there are hundreds of thousands of followers, which is incredible. I mean, who have you had doing this, and how does it feel to see people, with hundreds of thousands of followers sharing your brand because they care about it?
Ah, it felt absolutely nuts. Like the first time, so Fern Cotton started following us on Instagram, and we sent her some t-shirts. And the first time she posted about us, I literally dropped my phone standing in the middle of my lounge and started crying. I was like, "Oh my god, it's amazing!" um, so yeah, I mean, it's bizarre, it's like surreal. You just can't, believe it. And it has been really amazing that we've had a lot of that support. We don't it doesn't work in a sort of endorsement way. Like we haven't paid for any paid promotions of celebrities for our clothing. We've also had people like Gemma Atkinson wearing our stuff, and it's just because they want to support what we do and what we stand for, which is just, yeah, surreal, I think is the right word for it, but has been a huge support. Like there's no denying that the size of the brand as it is now would never have been without the support of people like that. And people like you, like amazing, bloggers and people within the ethical fashion and humanitarian industry who have kind of taken our brand under their wing and want to support it and want to talk about it and want to kind of share in the journey with us. We feel very lucky, and we feel really glad that we can sit in a space where not only we can provide clothes that people are proud to wear because of the sourcing, because of where they come from and how they're made, but also feel proud to wear because of what they actually stand for. It's really exciting that so many people want to come on that journey with us. So yeah, we're pumped about it.
Yeah. I mean, I can tell you organically from my side that when you first contacted me, what was it? Must have been about a year ago now, wasn't it?
I
Because it
think
was
it's even
when
more than a year.
we
Yeah.
were still kind of in lockdown, but coming out of it.
Yeah.
I remember I was definitely at home in lockdown when you sent me stuff.
Yeah.
But I remember when you messaged me and I looked at your brand and I was like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. Why has no one done this before?
Yeah.
And I just thought the designs were so beautiful. You sent me it was a t-shirt with it was fruit on the front of it. I
Ah,
can't remember the
yeah, that's
name of
the
it, but it was
Gambian
really
one. Yeah.
colourful and fun. Yeah, and it was just so colourful and nice. And then I think there was the Wink tee as well.
Mhm.
And since then, obviously, we had the headbands.
Yeah,
that
they did
just
really
flew
well.
off the shelf, didn't they?
They
People
did.
absolutely loved them.
They did. They were amazing. Yeah.
um, but
I
no, I can tell you from my side that I think it would be hard for someone not to love your brand when you
oh,
contact them.
thank
So I don't think you should be surprised that these people are doing it and sharing your brand, because it's lush. But
thank you.
no, it's super fun. So what, I mean, down the line, what have you got planned? Have you got other projects coming up? Are you planning to get back out soon? I mean, you've said there's a new launch coming up, which is really exciting, but
Yeah.
is there kind of anything going on alongside that?
Yes, so we've got a new launch coming up, which is really exciting because it's our first Made in Africa collection. So the way that we've worked over the last kind of 3 years is that we've always wanted to work with and support suppliers that are as planet friendly, as people friendly as they could possibly be. And when we were kind of smaller, that really meant working with the kind of big players within the ethical fashion industry. So suppliers who had really legitimate certifications that we could rely on, that we knew that the garments were organic, we knew where they were made and how they were made. And that meant, so we partnered with people like Stanley and Stella. I don't know if your listeners would know some of these, but some of them are kind of consumer famous as well. Rapa Nui, Earth Positive, all really fantastic, really incredible suppliers of ethical clothing. However, it's always been our passion since day one to actually have the supply chain in Africa, because in doing that, we can obviously continue to impact more people's lives, creating more jobs, and also support, the industry there where a lot of cotton is grown, but a lot of production doesn't happen because in terms of sort of industrial growth there hasn't been anywhere near as much as there has been in India and Bangladesh. So it's always been something we've been passionate about. We've kind of been I've probably been spending the last 2 years kind of trying to search for that supply chain, that perfect supply chain. So the collection that we have coming up, it's kind of happening in 2 phases, but the first phase that's coming up is a Tanzanian cotton collection. So we'll be launching 3 basic tees and also a cropped top, which are made with 100% organic Tanzanian cotton, and they're made in a Tanzanian factory, which is vertical. So that means that everything happens under one roof, because a lot of the carbon footprint of a usual supply chain happens because the cotton's grown in one place, it's flown somewhere else, it's made into fabric, it's flown somewhere else, it's made into a final garment, it's flown somewhere else for the final element of production. That obviously adds up. So a vertical factory means that everything happens from the raw cotton production to the fabric creation to the final garment in one place. And it's just an amazing organization. They have incredible support for their workforce. And we were just really happy and excited to find them. So yeah, we've got a new Tanzanian collection, which is launching soon. And we hope that as part of that, we will also have a Tanzanian project coming up. But I can't say too much about that now. But yeah, within the same area, we hope to be supporting some local groups. And then in addition to that, part 2 of the Made in Africa collection is going to be working with an incredible organization called Soko in Kenya, who are an really inspiring ethical fashion production, very small factory that also do a lot of education programs, again have incredible support for their factory workers. But in addition to that, they run a initiative called Kajua, which we actually donated to last year, where they take all the scraps of fabric from the factory and they make sanitary towels, and they do education for young women around sort of menstrual health and family planning. And yeah, they're able to provide that support as a result of people supporting the factory and production. So that's the next collection that's coming up, is going to be partnering with them. So yeah, we've got a lot of stuff coming up, which is, I feel like, a perfect circle. Like, we're really focusing on the circular element of where the clothes are made, how they're made, the impact that has, and making that as positive as possible. And then also kind of circling back to where should we donate the profits from that? What is happening locally within that region that's having a really significant impact, and how can we kind of donate back to that? Making the supply chain as kind of ethical and as kind of flat as possible, so that everyone along the kind of road of that garment production is benefiting. I'm really excited about it. I don't know if you could tell.
Yeah.
I talk about it all day.
Do you know what? I could listen to you talk about it all day because, like, I know you probably feel the same, but the amount of companies that I see, I'm not going to name names, but brands that are saying they're doing sustainable things and stuff, and you know, there's a whole process to it.
Mm,
It's not just the final product, like you say, it's the process of it. It's keeping it under one roof. It's the carbon footprint. It's, the actual humanitarian impact that it has, the
mm,
social impact.
exactly.
So to listen to you go through all of these stages that you've just thought through so much, and like it doesn't, like, you're not negatively impacting anyone. There's every part of the stage is having a positive impact, which I just think is so rare, and I love it. I think it's absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
um so I'm excited for you. I feel like I'm feeding off your excitement. And I can't wait to see it all. I think
Thank
it's
you.
it's yeah, super exciting. I can't wait to see.
Thank
But
you.
in terms of that as well, I want to ask you, as a person behind this brand and as you as yourself, what's your kind of advice to consumers in terms of trying to be a better buyer and buy more ethically, buy more sustainably, and,
Mm,
and buy with a positive impact? Is
mm.
that, do you have any advice for our listeners?
Um, I think it's a lot about respect, like respect for where something comes from and how long that has taken. And if you even break down the stages of what it takes to make a simple t-shirt, if people really thought about that, I don't think they'd be so throwaway with their garments. Oh, it's got a stain on. Oh, I'll just check that and buy another one. If you actually thought about the growing of that cotton, the creation of that fabric, the stitching together of that garment, the people that have been involved in that process, I don't think we'd be so disrespectful to the actual piece itself. So I think wherever your clothes are from, the ones in your wardrobe or the ones that you're buying from new brands, like have a little bit of respect for it. It's a little bit like your food and where it comes from. Like if you actually, and I'm trying at the moment with my veg patch, if you actually try and grow food yourself, you're like, oh my god, you get one carrot and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna savor this carrot. It's taken me so long. I think if people were a little bit more honest about, it's almost too easy for us. We can just go into the supermarket and buy something. We can just go into a shop, a cheap throwaway shop and buy some new clothes. So why take care of the ones we've got? Who cares? I think we've been going down that road for too long. And I think my advice would be just take care of the things that you like, the clothes that you like to wear. And the better care you take of them, the less you'll need to buy. So you're saving yourself money. And I think when you are looking to buy, I think the best way I can describe it is buy from brands with good vibes. Because I used to say look for sustainable this and look for this certification and look for that. But I actually don't buy into that so much anymore because I think there is so much greenwashing that it's an easy placator to your guilt. Oh, I've seen that it's organic. Oh, that's fine. I can buy that and not worry. I think you kind of get a sense about whether or not a price point is right. Should a t-shirt be £2.50? How could that even be possible? What could anyone possibly have been paid if that's the case? And, what is this brand telling me, and do I believe it? And do I want to buy into that? Is that where I ultimately want my money to go, to that person or to that company or to that ethos? I think that's a really good and helpful guide because I think you get a good gut feel about these things, about whether or not a brand is doing the right thing and you like their energy or not. And even if you have to save up a bit longer to get something that you'll treasure, I think having respect for that garment and keeping it for longer will ultimately make you happier than just a couple of throwaway things that you can wear on one weekend. So yeah, I think it's about respect and I think it's about vibes.
Mm. Yeah, I think it's really interesting to look at it in that way in terms of, I mean, I know your veg plot analogy is spot on because it's, if you had to sit down and make a t-shirt, um, how long would it take you? How
Yeah.
hard would it be? How much effort would you have to put into it? Would
Mm,
you would you say that that's worth £2.50?
mm,
You can go down to the coffee shop and get a coffee made for you for £3,
mm.
and you can buy a t-shirt for the same price. It doesn't seem to balance, does it?
Mm.
So I think that's a really good way to look at it. And also, yeah, like you say, it's the respect for it. It's saving up for something that will last you longer. That's just so important. But is there any kind of brands or people that inspire you? You know, are there individuals or brands that you really look up to who you think are doing really good things as well?
Oh my God, there's so many. I think in terms of people, I'm sure I say this on every podcast I go on, and not that anyone follows every podcast I've been on because it's not loads, but the books that inspired us setting up this business, I feel like everyone should read. So Muhammad Yunus is a writer. He won the Nobel Peace Prize, and he talks about social business, and he talks about capitalism, and how actually if we make the choice to, we can channel our money into something positive and into something good. And that is the whole reason we set up this business. His idea of social business and equitable business and something that has a good and positive impact in the world. I believe strongly that there is no reason why all businesses can't behave like that. I mean, I'm not saying all businesses have to give all their profits away, although it is a workable solution. So the way that we work, just as a sidebar, we pay all of our overheads, we pay all of our staff. There's no weird workings to our finances. We work exactly as a normal business would. So we make money, we cover all of our overheads, and at the end of that, rather than all of the money that's left over, the profit going to shareholders, the top of the tree, the stakeholders, as works in all business generally, to the fat cat sitting on the top, we give that bit away. So everyone within the supply chain can still earn fairly. Everyone can still earn a wage. So why couldn't all businesses work like that? There is literally no reason why all businesses can work like that. It's only because people want to get richer and richer and richer that puts people off. But actually, if you just decided everyone's going to get paid fairly and everyone's going to take a wage and all overheads are going to be covered, but the excess, we don't need that. So let's put that somewhere better. I just feel like that's the concept. That's what his books are all about. He's written 3, they're all awesome. They would be a huge recommendation. So he's a big, I'm a huge fangirl of Muhammad. So yes, definitely look him up. I think in terms of brands, there are so many doing really cool things. Some of my favorites, and in terms of vibes, Birdsong London, I just think are really cool. They've inspired me from the beginning. They create all of their garments with a lot of passion and soul. They're really super transparent, even when it might not seem like it's the right thing for them to do. They've done campaigns like last year where they showed the entire breakdown of the cost of making one of their dresses, so everyone could see each stage of the process. Not everyone understands how retail costing works, so that was quite a bold thing to do, because people could have turned around and been like, well, I didn't realize you had this margin here and this margin here. But they did it anyway, and I just think that they're an incredibly cool brand. They're getting so much stuff right, but more importantly, they're really honest, and they're very that the way they talk to their consumers is like their mates, just being like, well, let's just break it down, let's explain it to you. If you like it, you can buy it. If you don't buy it. That's cool. And they're one of my favorite brands for sure. I think there are a lot of ethical brands out there at the moment, and I think that time will tell which ones are kind of coming from a good place and have literally set up to do something different and to change something and make an impact, and which ones are kind of riding on the wave of a marketing trend, as it were. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Birdsong and Muhammad Yunus, I have both of them absolute vibes.
Yeah, that's actually really useful to know, because I get a lot of people asking me for brand recommendations and stuff like that. So that's always good to know. And I think people will find that really helpful. And it's nice that you are inspired by other people. Origin Africa is definitely a part of that inspiring team. So you should be super proud of it.
I do feel like more brands within this category, a lot of the ones that I have met are very keen to work together, because I think fashion is very competitive. It's like, oh, I wouldn't recommend, Birdsong sell a lot of the same things we sell. They sell sweatshirts, they sell t-shirts. A lot of people will be like, oh, well, I'm not going to go on and recommend, a competitor. If this industry is going to change, if fashion is going to change, we need to support the brands that are doing the right thing and that are doing, amazing and incredible leaps forward in terms of fashion production, in terms of workers' rights, in terms of, respect for garments as well. And I think we should be lifting each other up. So we absolutely should be working together. And a lot of people I've met in the industry are very willing to do that. Everyone wins if this industry gets bigger. So it should be very collaborative, I think.
Yeah, that's an incredible way to look at it. Like you say, there's a lot of competition in this industry, so for people doing the right thing to be working together is incredible. And, I can tell you, Cove Clothing, who are obviously the platform of this podcast, are so inspired by you as well, and are just so grateful to have you here, because it's amazing to speak to you as another brand trying to do right things. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So yeah, I mean, it's been incredible to talk to you. And before you go, I want to ask you, when should we be looking for this launch?
This weekend. I don't know when this podcast is going out, so I don't know if this weekend is relevant. But anyway, it may have already happened. But yes, it's coming up very soon.
Yeah.
It's really exciting. So that will be phase 1. So this will be the Tanzanian element. We hope the Soko Kenyan pieces, which is a lot more, they're going to be quite new and different pieces from our kind of traditional stuff, and they're being made from scratch in this factory. So that's not going to be until later on in the year. But yeah, the Tanzanian part this weekend. So stay tuned. It's very exciting.
Okay. Well, our listeners will be very lucky then, because they've heard the pre-launch, and I expect they'll be able to go and find them straight away then. But also super exciting to look forward to the next one.
I know.
Thank you so much. It's
welcome.
It's been super insightful to listen to you and to talk about not just your incredible brand, but also those, really complex ideas behind fashion these days, and which brands are doing the right things and what we should be looking for. So thank you so much for offering such a good insight into the world of slower and more ethical fashion.
You are so
awesome. All right. Thank you for joining us, Alice.
Bye.